Salon to the Radio Democracy, they look at the different host them we don't book waiting at some of the causes and self now will get update from the National Disaster Management Agency as almost in total host them don't broke na some part them na the country. And for Kaipu for discuss more about this topic inside the studios this afternoon, I get Cineman Sari, winner director of relief in response to the National Disaster Management Agency. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, listeners.
All right. Continue for the with me inside the program. The program na Salon today will come to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. And we expect Solomon Sundu, the executive director for Bianchi Foundation. Same way, so we expect Engineer Festus Jones, the president for the Sierra Leone Institute of Engineers. Then we can give you updates waiting on some of the causes as na the young profession in terms of engineering na the country. Inside the studios, we just joined by Solomon Sundu, the executive director for Bianchi Foundation. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to Radio Democracy.
Good afternoon, Usman. Good afternoon, listeners.
All right, continue for the with me inside the program. I'll come over to you, Cineman Sarina, the Director of Relief Response at the National Disaster Management Agency. Before we can look at the topic proper, we get for do with collapse of building across the country. Waiting on the happen so now the National Disaster Management Agency.
Yeah, so let's just take this opportunity for give background about the establishment of the National Disaster Management Agency. As we all know, the management of disaster been done at the Office of National Security through the NASIA Act. Then, because I understand saying self and don't review them, it been give the mandate to the ONS for manage disasters, whether man-made or natural. But along the line, then we discover say the mandates we ONS been get for manage disaster been make ONS a tight small because it just say natural or man-made disaster. So there was need for law we get a standalone institution where we go manage disasters whilst ONS will focus on security matters. So in 2020, then we enact the National Disaster Management Agency Act, where give the NDMA wide-ranging powers for manage disasters and similar emergencies throughout Sierra Leone. So from 2020, the agency don't into existence. It don't manage major disasters. Few among the major disasters we manage after its establishment. Now be the fire outbreak now. Susan's Bay, we affect large number of people. They also manage the Wellington fire incidents. That be major incident in this country. We will all know the impact and severity. We also manage flooding incidents that we don't take place in Culvert, Susan's Bay and other places in our western area. And we also don't manage flooding at Bonds, the Riverine district, the Moyamba, the Bonds and Pujon district, also Cambia district. We get flooding. It's almost like recurrent flooding that they happen every now and then. And we'll go into the dries again. We get lots of fire incidents the way they take place right across the country, but the western area they record, especially Freetown, they record more number of fire outbreak than other places. Where they get a lot of incidents that way don't they happen. Some parts of upline they get windstorm. Where they get, of course, we know the new normal now when a building collapse, but I know so we'll talk into detail as we move ahead with this program.
All right. Firstly, let's start off with the fire incidents. Them, wanna get any data in place for know the amount of fire them we wanna respond to?
Yes, we get data in place. Just that I know carry time, but we they get fire almost every now and then in our western area. Hosted the born, and we know the reasons why hosted the born. The man activity of men. You know, the disaster they all attribute now to man-made. Wait till they do. Wait how they cause them fire outbreak. But we get data we really they speak to fire outbreak now the western area and other places than across the nation.
All right. So waiting on be the role of the National Disaster Management Agency, especially with fire incidents can happen.
So the role of National Disaster Management Agency in fire outbreak, fire of course we know say a hazard before it transform into disaster. We go down burn the place now, it definitely become a disaster. Where fire can break out, we they get the alert say fire don't break out. I make any side we go, we always they say managing disaster not to one institution can do, we can do them with other players. A major partner in managing fire outbreak na the National Fire Force. If we get information of fire outbreak, we can bring them to the National Fire Force, and Fire Force self, where then get information of fire outbreak, then can tell the National Disaster Management Agency. But the responsibility of putting out that fire, now the National Fire Force they do them. And putting out that fire, Fire force also need police for really control the crowd around, maintain public order, let people not come for can thief some items whilst the fire they go on. After them go don put out the fire, especially if it affects a number of houses, the National Disaster Management Agency they come in, they come with in partners from government ministries, departments and agencies that they can do it to they call joint assessment for know the severity of the fire outbreak. Then after the assessment, will they register the affected population because they need support. We can try for gather this support, we come, we give them. If not big fire, we know say the guy can be na Susan's Bay and Krube. It can so big that we need for establish incident command center at the ground. We need for mobilize resources, food item, then life-saving things, then bring them. And also give them housing support so that housing, wash, some dignity support so they not go continue for so far. So the National Disaster Management Agency they coordinate that. Anytime we get fire outbreak, anytime we get the incidents and they for restore with people and back to usa them in day before the fire break out.
All right. Even though una dey work with the fire force, for CC una get things right, the police have can dey around. But wetin are the common thing that we can happen we make us thinking born fast.
Yeah, so again we say other institutions and get very important role for play when it comes to managing fire. From we own perspective, wait till we don't discover say now they cause this fire. Because when fire break, you go to the community, you ask them waiting cause the fire, they not go tell you. But you get one old community they use 1 meter. 1 meter, you go to some of them places and you get about 60 family or more they use 1 meter. So that's a major source of fire outbreak. You look at the cables the way that they use again for run denting and it can be another source of outbreak. The kind of material that they use for building host and day, then materials and this something a palm body, some tending and other kind of structure we fire force can say the combustible material they're easy for make them catch fire. So all the one and they contribute for make fire outbreak. Then some before this time when they get some people go tell you say that they cook inside the house or they light candle or they light mosquito coil, some other things. There are many reasons we're responsible for fire outbreak.
All right. When fire incidents can happen, you know, waiting basically una can give people at that moment day.
So one, we know say the fire don't come, it don't completely burn their house, they don't lost almost everything they get. We initially can start with the life-saving things then. Make sure say you not sleep na do. If not tarpaulin, we get tarpaulin. If not building the way they around we cable house una, where they equip them building and they for make a house una first. If the number too large, where they begin truck water, where they bring food. They can do wet feeding, cook na the ground for some time, while to be able to mobilize other things then forgive them. The woman that you pay attention because their needs them specific, you look for specific things that they provide for woman them. You look at waiting necessary for picking them back forget, you try for bring the items and the way they get to picking them. So you look all of that, you arrange them, wash condition, make sure say then get them dignity, then get them life, you provide for them. As soon as they go along towards the end of providing all of that, we can get need can they follow do cash transfer, we can give them cash so that then go able the cash they give you leeway for make you go rent back. You get partners that way they meet, we say well then number of people that were affected, one provide give them some money, let them rent for this number of periods, from there they can able catch up and continue with their life. So they can carry with cash transfer, we also give them cash transfer we open up, give you the ability now or the leverage for use them how you want to use them.
Alright, continue for the with me inside the program. In name na Sineman Sarina, the Director of Relief Response na the National Disaster Management Agency, as we there for look at issues we get for do with the rampant way how host and on the collapse across the country. I'll come over to you now, Solomon Sundu. You don't work around different issues them across the country, and we know the disaster them presently at this moment where they happen. But firstly, let we take fire. From the civil society point of view, which one make up of some of the fire incidents that will happen?
I think say you don't throw all the question to the director, and I'm glad the way he highlights issues where they cause fire accidents and why it happen at all time. Me on question around that area they all the area they wouldn't get then fire disaster like we talk about them Bay Area, you talk about them, slum area, outside now at to reach area. They don't do times without number. They go with relief. They don't even give, help or helping hand to them people and they providing building materials. You say host them, we don't burn, we don't see them over the years. But the question now is, why they not go do the needful? If really area then they like then decided to talk about bay when disaster occur now at to which area, why did they manage them people and they up to this stage? Yeah, when they get a mandate for recommend. And the other area, are they working in collaboration with other agencies, Ministry of Lands, Ministry of Works, Housing and Country Planning, and other agencies? Because year in, year out, we don't find out, say, along the slum area then they, most of the disaster, like we likely mentioned, say, 1 meter, it will serve more than 20, 30, household. You look at the appliances the way they use now them houses and the people they check them. It's a way to go install a meter. They no one know always they know now for just a meter. So if really they work in line with same other agencies then they, why they not go put mechanism in place? Because every now and then fire take place or host and burn. When I go meet some people, when I give them relief. When I not think say, people will make an habit. Because if you look at it and as scanty houses them, like we talk about trampoline, you give somebody trampoline. But if the other time come trampoline burn, you get for good back for get trampoline. So for me, let we they talk about the problems. Let we talk about solutions. How they will able for solve them people have their issues. If there are a way where they will recommend say this area is not fit for purpose, or the way when I do on a meter system, when I recommend, right? So that we not going to encounter fire. We will not say it happen, because if you look at the entire city, not only the slum area, houses that they burn or na other areas then, but major area and then hard to reach area. Also you see people and just choke, you understand themselves. Then when we talk about the disaster itself, well, we only see over the years, we no blame disaster, we camp a natural disaster, because Sierra Leone, according to the world, then say we are the third prone disaster country in the world. But if we put measures in place, if we look at the hills top areas and the way people are not supposed to build, you get the mountainous area, you get the riverland area, you get areas in where nobody not fit for live. Before the people to go take them land, or why I say just now, if they work with the other ministries, departments and agencies, if somebody they give land, when I don't go check the ecology, when I don't go test the soil, or when I don't make sure say that particular excavation where that person they do that hill, go affects that hill for cuts down the foot, you understand? So all of them sin and they then get a lot of job for do. You will ask the question, are they collaborating with each other? Or on a way disaster come, then go, they all come, you see this, they come, you see ONS, they come, you see this, they come. Why we not go do the needful rather than we cry every now and then? That is my point.
All right, continue for the with me inside the program. We just joined by Engineer Festus Agu Jones. I hope say I pronounce you Oba Agu Jones. All right, in the president for the Sierra Leone Institute of Engineers. Good afternoon, welcome to Radio Democracy, sir.
Good afternoon, Osman.
Yes,
good afternoon, Osman. Good afternoon, fellow panelists, and good afternoon to all our listeners out there.
All right, but firstly, before we can look at the main topic we get for do with the collapse of building, waiting at the mandate of the Sierra Leone Institute of Engineers.
Right, the mandate of the Sierra Leone Institution of Engineers now for ensure good practice of engineering at Sierra Leone, ensure that we engage and register members, undertake training programs for develop engineers, particularly the young engineers in the country, but also we also did look at various aspects of new design and how we can take that on board now we country.
All right, you talk about good practice of engineers. How you go assess the country in terms of good practice of engineers?
Wow. Okay, I'll do my best for answer that question. Right, I mean, the good practice, how we go try to assess that is to ensure that the guidelines where we don't set, particularly in terms of our registration process, right? To ensure, say, that all the engineers don't go through proper training, don't get the necessary experience in terms of the number of years where they don't day out to the practice, and before we go, ensure that we make sure they then register, with the institution. So I mean that in terms of the institution would be how we'll be able to ensure that we assess and have good engineers in the country.
All right. So what are the criteria where somebody forget for be part of our organization?
Well, we get different levels. We get the student membership, following on from associate student membership. Then the one where they still in a college where they study. We try to encourage them, for them join, so that at least when they go left, then we're able for continue and become full-fledged members. Then we get the associate members. These are members, and we now get the full qualification for become corporate members. Then we get corporate members. These are those that at least if you don't get a degree from a recognized university, if you don't get at least 3 years experience, practicing as an engineer, most times under the guidance of another senior professional engineer. And then we get the fellows. I mean, these are people and we don't they practice engineering for a number of years, at least a minimum of 10 years. They don't undertake a number of projects. They don't supervise a number of engineers.
All right, we'll come over back to you shortly. Like over to the Director of Relief and Response at the National Disaster Management Agency, Wena Sinemantage. Recently, we all know the kind of issue where they happen in the country, from fire, flooding, now a collapse of building. Update listeners them so far at this moment within the status or within the data we wanna get with the show of building them we don't collapse.
Yeah, just before this time we'll be talk about fire outbreak. My brother raised a number of issues we very much important because people then continue for the bill in areas they're not supposed to bill. I can tell you, say all the disasters that we face now, not all natural disasters, these are man-made disasters because rain bound for calm and rain go calm. But if you go build your house na water side, na waterlogged area, you build them na bridge, you build on a mountain top, you build on a swamp, definitely what will happen when it rains? It can go. So disaster management, we go always continue for talk about multi-sectoral. You need multi-sectoral approach. So the question my brother asked you for the corporate, if we begin from multi-sectoral approach, you institution, it get great role. Well, I don't mean your own current institution, even though your institution get important role for play, but you get another government institution. Yeah. If it not performing function at all, no matter within National Disaster Management Agency be, we go just to go round the circle. That's why we talk about recurrent disaster. Every year you dey get fire outbreak at the same locality. Every year you dey get flooding. Even partners where they come for can support, they tire. They're not they show interest. Because it happen all the time. So we need the collaboration, we need them, and the NDMA Act makes provision for that. When we get then disaster management committee, every key government institution get role for play. They will get interpillar arrangement when a different government ministries, department, agencies they lead. Because if we get big scale disaster like how we get mudslide, for example, if we get something similar or bring recent one as the Wellington fire incident, the Ministry of Health they activate the health and burial pillar, so then go address all health issues. So also other government institutions collaboration they take place, but I feel we need for collaborate and coordinate more than how they do it. Then to the question of the building collapse, say the months of July, August, September now very, very crucial moment for the management of disasters, because we're then at the peak of the raining season. Before the raining season we can get seasonal outlook of the weather pattern from Sierra Leone Meteorological Agency. Then can tell we how the weather get for look like. We all prepare, we coordinate very well with them. Then we get for we can call an emergency coordination meeting, lot of plan, lot of map resources. They don't tell you say rain get for calm. We get for go na them prone communities, then tell them all prepare together. We get the new trend with the face with now. I can begin for this year for the update of building collapse. The first one be happening on the 15th July. Now Devil Hole, Usa slope, a slope collapse, and 6 houses were destroyed. Then 13 household families them is seriously impacted. So Devil Hole now one way happened on the 1st of July. Usa will get that slope failure. Then we get another one where it be tragic. I know say na in. Now from there now we begin pay attention to building collapse. We now the one we happen at Ajasoni Drive. This now SS camp between it could be between Hill Station and Regent. But now a 5-story building, and the engineer there go help me out for describe them. Not to collapse, it collapse. It just sink. It go down. What's I did? It go down. You know, now a 5-story building. And this bring we to another sensitive aspect again. It happened by 11 p.m. we've been here for do coordination again for do search and rescue, because 8 people have been trapped into this building. You see say disaster management again, don't they go into a new phase of search and rescue, because people have been trapped. 8 of them will be able to pull 5 initially. Well, 5 in common force way, 3 been there alive as they go. We later pull 2 out of the 5, 2 been coming away they alive. Later we pull 3, they were dead. So out of the 5, they come out alive, but 3 people end up dying at this place. Look at the nature of what's happening. Now go the building go down. Then after that, we get another incident we happen at K Step. This now Calbaton. And for this incident at K Step, now fence collapse. It come for them by this building made up of dirty block. If the building itself collapse, and that building they collapse, it kill a lady with a 2-year-old boy, with an 18-year-old Pekin, and it made a Pekin. 4 people and die by that particular incident. Then it not been getting need for do search and rescue, because by the time we go there, the people and the community they play very important role in search and rescue. The community. That make we could always say disaster management, not to one institution the manager. By the time we go, the community don't bring them. We coordinate ambulance then come, then we're able to take the person go. Then we get another incident we happen on the 23rd of July. This na Moiba, then call it Garden Hilltop Moiba. Instead dirty just cut and cover 6 houses. Even though we not get case of death, but people have been seriously injured. Now within the same period, the time they were the so. Then on the another serious one again, I know say no, but now be the 12th August 2024, about 1 p.m. In fact, for this one, the call come up from 98.1. We just the common management meeting, and we get the call say, when I don't get any information, say building common for na Congoton. This happened at Congoton. So you say again, I continue for say how every institution get role for play in the management of disaster. It come up from the media. We go, the building collapse. Underneath that building, that building is a 4-story building. Underneath that building, garage day. So people have been trapped. Most of the people that were trapped into this building, now people that were can't walk. And mind you, most of them building they already mentioned, so they are building under construction. Not to building the way don't say they are building the building. So the building collapse again. We get for do search and rescue, because the initial information we get, they say that 8 people and they under. Other one go tell you say that 6 people and they under. But by the time we conclude the search and rescue operations, we discover say now 4 people and in at the building. We initially 3 been common alive, 1 dead, but 1 part the people that were common later died at the hospital. So now been 2 died, 2 saved. Then we come by that very day, we get another story, another report of a building by India Temple, now Wilkinson Road. The top floor of 5-story building, now the top floor, line collapse. In have been one death will be recorded. Will not be get any need for those search and rescue operations at that particular building. Then not too long, we not even conclude the exercise now. Congoton. Now we get another building. Instead of under construction, a 5-story building. Now Joshua, Wellington, instead just collapse. For that building there, will not be get death because people will not be the reside at the building. Will not be get any injury because instead being under construction. So we look at the trend and see how things they go. But in total, now been 12 for this whole period. Now a total of 12 deaths we don't record. And you can find out say they are not too, because disaster management, you activate all the structures where you get huge number of people impacted. But the one there are small number of impacted, but they get fatality, people that lost their life. We make with the treat them seriously. So by way of updates for flooding, and especially we get for do with building collapse, and the number of people that were affected. But when you move away from Freetown, we get large farmlands then we don't flood.
All right, Mr. Mansari, we can look at flooding separately, but them building we collapse during the tell una they go na the area there. Which community people can tell una?
So most of them they can raise them with they can make complaint at National Disaster Management Agency, and me comment why they make so good for do with me brother initial observations, because when them bring issue like this, a person can't tell you say in fence they post threats to me host the kind where I build this fence can make all the water they can at me host now, you know, or this community be done this so for a long time until this man can build this house. Then this whole community begin flooding, not be the flood in the past. We they do the assessment, we can do them jointly, bring other government institutions, we do them. Then we write reports and direct them to that government office we get responsibility for take action. We can follow up. But most times now the challenge can come if they not cooperate, and so it can be a disaster be.
Alright, let's continue for the with we Mr. Mansari. Like over to the engineer. Engineer Festus, what's not the problem at this moment we make we get a recent collapse of building?
Right, thank you. Before we rush to judgment, I go like for say there are several reasons, you know, we can make building and collapse. And let we start from the first stage when at the design, right? You get improper design, sometimes feasibility studies not been take place, adequate sites and soil investigations that not been take place, where leads to improper foundation design and then onto the structural design, right? Then when you don't do the design, the next stage obviously now for Lego get you permit, right? And we know say, right, no construction work not for take place, right, if you not get proper building permit, right? And forget this building permit, you need for submit approved drawings and designs, right? So if approved drawings and designs, sometimes people thinking, you know, if you cut corners, you know, take shortcuts and all the rest of it, you fenway, and you able to forget your building permit, you know, then obviously, you know, that's you know, another cause. And then we will come now to the actual construction, right? When it comes to the construction, right, you get for ensure say you utilize a registered and proper engineer, right, you know, for undertake then construction here, because sometimes you go get defective construction where the contractor they fail for carry out proper works, maybe for, you know, maximize profit, etc. Sometimes, you know, then go use substandard materials, sometimes poor workmanship, and sometimes you go get where building plans are altered, right? For example, you don't start off with a single story, then you decide, say, well, I don't get some extra cash, so I go on for build, you know, 2-story, right? But your original designs, particularly the foundations, were for a single story, and then you go on and build your 2-story. Or sometimes, you know, the even plans can change where it's a residential building, and then you decide for change into a mini factory, you understand me, and then again that too can, you know, affect the foundation, because with the factory you get a lot of vibration, you get loading from, you know, heavy equipment, you know, and all the rest of it. And then, you know, the supervision, again, you need to ensure, say, the building is being supervised by, you know, proper and professional, you know, engineers, you know, we get good ethics and good moral, you know, and willing for be diligent and, you know, undertake, you know, all the processes. But the main reason obviously has to stem from, you know, the foundation. Then, like, you know, we've heard from NDMA, you get natural causes, right? And natural causes, you get heavy rains, you know, heavy storm, flooding, thunder, lightning, and earthquakes, right? So we go put them in two categories. We go put the first one on man-made, right? As NDMA has said, most of these causes are man-made, right, and not necessarily due to natural occurrence.
All right. Recently, Mr. Don't they observe most people working there on a flat can decide for turn the house into two-story. We can see that they check the house, put a pillar around. Is it the best practice of this?
The thing is, if you alter your intention, right, you need to alter the design. You get to go back to the design stage and alter the design for take into account, you know, your new intention. You understand me? But if you want to use the same foundation, the same structural members, right, for carry on and put, you know, one or two extra floors on top, then obviously, you know, you're heading to disaster.
All right. Building material get anything to do with this? Any substandard material like iron rod or cement?
Yes, obviously. I mean, you know, those are the main, you know, building components. You know, you get the cement, you get the sand, you get the iron rod. So those are the main components. And in relation to that, I know there have been, you know, rumors or there's been talk going on around about substandard, you know, iron rods being used, etc. And I'm glad the way, you know, recently, as he said, the Ministry of Trade and Industry don't give out, you know, a press release towards that, and you know they're now prepared for take adequate action, you know, for ensure. You know that you know adequate materials are being brought into the country for investigate the matter. So yes, you know these things, you know, could happen. As I said, you know, with the contractor. I mean, if you get a contractor where, you know, want for make a little bit of, you know, extra profit, you go use less cement, you know, in certain instances. Yeah.
Continue further with me inside the program, engineer. Over to you, Solomon Sundu. We suppose forget Standards Bureau this afternoon the program, but unfortunately we not get somebody. They're not able for pick we call opt-in this time where we do the program. Finger on the point and the Ministry of Trade and Standards Bureau of substandard goods then for Canada, the country. At this moment, who that we for blame, even though not to blame game, but who that we for blame?
Well, I want to start from Osai, my brother catch up a very honest topic for say most of them collapse, yeah, a man-made disaster. A give a case in point, if you are not supposed to build in the wetland in a swamp, right? You go build in water area, and me engineer they talk about, you know, planning. You know, the pre-planning now maybe put earlier. If you go, for example, where we talk about the multi-sectorial, you know, work between ministries, departments, and agencies. If really you go give land to somebody, other countries would always say they get hilltop, but like governments can plan, who sign up for bill and can cut the hill, shade the hill, as to how many story go build on that side. If na shanty house, if na a flat, they will give them design. But we country, we don't know why the Ministry of Works, Housing and Country Planning there, because all of the incident they are from that initial stage, right? But make a, you know, catalog the two. If you don't get wetland, just like what the engineer they say, for me, then self get the rule for play. if they win at the engineers at any cost, let that kind of advert they say if you want for build your house, and no matter the poor way you pour, right? But we get these units where then go make an advert of, can do what we call soil test. May you know exactly who say this you host the planning where you they do if now for 2-story, 3-story. Let we know if really the soil go able for all that kind of building there. So once they say, may they look into that. Let there be education on that. Not to all say you for go build, and where you build, make sure say you contact the engineers, may they give you proper advice. Because what they say, everybody want build in a free town. And if you go meet that, engineer for make a give you structural design, as I mentioned, design, right? It will take you money, but also would get like them students and we then associates. That pro bono, right? We then say go offer. Because in any case, professional, ethic day, what you will render to your country, let us come up and begin offer them services then they as to usai and usai if you want to put us na any land, whether na flat land, whether na clay soil, whether na whatever soil wanna make, let we know, right? Then my brother talk about the materials where insect na other issues. We don't see this being saying in those days we they see the rods 85 millimeters and go correct me now na cast rod they will see rod weight that you go hold for let you even bind or bend that rod they na trouble for you now na cast as you bend I don't work. So as you talk about standard brio, we not dey blame anybody na here, but when institutions and they for work, let we call things by their name. Now make we say we dey begin appraise people by your work, right? If the National Disaster Management Agencies then they go out for make sure say they able rescue people not to their own middle. Why they create that unit say now because disaster they occur. Now because people they know they do their work. Now because people they go bill aside they will not fit for bill. Now because people and they every now and then when they tell and say when I move from here, they still go there back. That is the point. So for me, then ministries, departments, and agencies were responsible. Let them come together. This not to time for blame anybody, but if the standard bureau were then supposed for check materials in this country, will they get substandard goods, not only on building materials. Look at the food what they eat. Will they get food the way they can in this country? People will go, stamp, then get their own stamp where they build for themselves in country. Look at the streets. Anytime where you see food then where you can go to supermarket, right? It's expensive. Then you reach a time begin selling a street. Say that food on the reach to an expired date. Now they pull them for let them get boku money, put on the street. All of them saying they will get for put up a standard bill, so they don't really do work. Yeah, under the Ministry of Trade, I think the standard bill now under the a day. If they don't do them work, right? Let them call them. Would they not fit for the land of the day?
Because the Ministry of Trade itself get trade monitors them around.
Oh my God!
If somebody one day within a group they ask say why governments they pay them people in.
Well, that is the 1 million question. Then trade monitors them where did they go? Now for themselves they work, right? Then they connive and they collude with the business people. Even with expired goods, he was say they don't go to eat that chicken, they don't go to eat this. Who said they can do in the first place? When then people had to offload or why they not for the check? Then why are houses then waiting they install, waiting they bring come, but now for themselves they work. Because if they go give them pockets, they not go think about the nation and waiting themselves need. So for me, I think say the government need for coming now, all ministries, yeah, if not disaster management get for handle the all issues, I think say like we're saying the director say, may them go back and amend some acts and give them more power. Because if earlier than the way people not supposed to live, may not live there. Standard bureaus, if they know they do them work, let them put people away they do the work, right? I think so that's what they call for. Because then collapse. Imagine how many lives don't lost? 12. No matter how you see them life. One life loss is important to we all. So now we all life. We call on them. Do ya? We know they put blame upon them because then they for rescue. Imagine if disaster they occur. Then they don't get no work for do. If breeze not come out with a natural disaster, they don't go there. Right? The man-made now you for try for avoid. The natural one, like we the engineer talk about earthquake, then earth tremor, all of them see then they na the natural one that one day. But that man made, let we see how we go tackle am. Would that not fit for the outside for the making all the day? That is my recommendation.
All right. Again, another school of thought can say most of the side way people can build, not to command the building. Now people that will get money. For example, if you go to Sanders Street around the Choitrams and supermarket, you get a huge big building where for over years made on the area say that building they don't block that gutter, but up till now you see that building they did. Is it that politics cannot mix pan some of the issues that will make governments not able to take action?
Well, Salon politics don't spoil everything, but professionalism. Let's look at the professional aspects. The engineers them, just like we two brother they say. Now make they say, let them they come out frequently, let people know the effects. Because we not only limit them on infrastructural and business. Well, we'll talk about infrastructure, it cuts across. Look at roads them. We get your engineers away, now then they go do first, you see, now they go do planning, now they go do feasibility studies. What's in that we engineer they do now they look this how you call and this toll road now. You don't see they don't turn a big river. Every day pass and go for go do am. Who say we your engineer and they will locus? That can be 1 million question, right? But
again, engineer they don't go say most governments not mix them. Especially we get for do it.
But this not this
company the way they come out.
Well, this not the area where they talk say we brother than really get for be proactive rather than reactive. Let not sit down, let other people and usurp the job and give them bad name. Because when one side go faulty, now the engineer they already blame. True or false? It's true. So let us say begin take the bull by its own. Would that not forgive them blame? Let not allow let blame reach them. Because you look at all the other designs when you talk about roads, we get your local engineers then. That they go begin design, that they go show the planning, that under SLR, then they go there, you see. But these are associates of engineers. So engineers, let them go do their work. Let them begin make sure, say, let people know the importance. Or else, that they go get it bad name at the end of the day. Somebody go say, like how you talk, that money man, you go pay the engineer. But if you go get the wrong advice, well, would you go blame at the end of the day? Now, engineer as well. So for me, let them not sit down, let other people and usurp their work. Let them come to the public, let them explain, then get 98.1 in day. They say no, they keep able for come na media, invite civil society, say this are our problem. We say able cascade the message out there. But if they sit down and fall on full foot, it's like everything is fine for them. And at the end of the day, whether they get a bad name, now the engineers.
Alright, I'll cover to you, Mr. Sine. At this moment, you not identify any build you wanna think in a risk we will cause problem.
In fact, we job for the identify risk. In managing disaster, people can always pay attention to the response. Say, it don't be now the term disaster management agency for can know. In managing disaster, you get the first phase. So you for really embark on risk reduction activities, the prevention, the mitigation. And when you undertake risk reduction, prevention, mitigation, you always they do assessment. Even if you not come to you notice people that they bring onto your attention, people must tell you say this thing they be. A major one way I know say all government institutions don't take action for make we do something. Now the I am tech building. I think when I don't see on social media, it don't raise lots of concern. Eventually I don't see some press statements or release from the Ministry of Land say let them evacuate that building. That is a major one way of public interest concern, because then say the building just this way they expand. Just as engineers say something, the intention, the original plan, not to forget and to wait it is today. You see, and it has been raised everywhere. If you see the picture, even if you know to engineer, they don't say this na hazard na risk, na disaster in waiting. Yeah. Like you get caught in tree so now by a school. The school get big population. This cutting tree in roots all don't eat now one just small roots. The ulam na hazard. In matter of time, if it collapse, it will transform to disaster. So we have series of those buildings where we bring to the attention of the institution we're responsible for take action. From your statements again, you make another important point. If you go by Aberdeen. But to buy the bridge, then settlement they already by the bridge. If you look by Leone, the settlement they already by just by the sea. Every year you see massively that they reclaim land. Now what's the side? Now water dey, but then they wait for the dries, then go put the pillar, begin do all kind thing, and as several government institutions they responsible for take action. If you not do that, what do you expect for also within our water side? You go say a flood, rain come, water go inside, it pour all it in and begin the flooding. You look on go cross bridge. Now water they flow. So if rain come, what do you expect? All time we go there, una dey carry all time for car watch, waiting una they do this, that, so. But we are professional because if you tell her why you can't be in our water side. You see? So you go tumble. The host they all na water side and they. But again, it can float by the time the member don't hype and this place don't flood, people don't care, but you watch, it is bound to flood. So there's several of those things that way they happen, and of course we don't make several reports to the director and to the institution responsible. We want to do this together. So we all need to work together. And another component we get significant role are the people themselves, because these are the people building that side way they put their life at risk. Nobody not go tell you how many people they died in Motome. Nobody. But the people themselves, now some of them they act as hazard because they continue for go who side not supposed to be.
All right, Engineer Festus, as you hear from the civil society man, and if you look around the social media, finger on the points to now waiting different this time una go do around for let people know say una self gets a role for play, or una self or don't they contribute for say most of the issues there are not happen.
Right. Yes, my colleague panelists been talking about engineers and the full foot. So, I want to refute that statement. We get with PAC Act 2022, the Professional Engineering Regulatory Council Act 2022. And under this act here, nobody, right, not go able for practice engineering or open up an engineering institution, right, when not on meet the criteria, right, and when not on register with the Leone institution, of engineers. So, and the enforcement of this act go start vigorously from this 1st of January 2025, right? So we they go all out. Anybody, right, where they practice or were involved in any engineering work or project or any institution, right, when not meet the criteria of the act, not go able for practice, right? So with this in mind, we hope so we're able for weed out, some of these, or some of them when they were no, entitled or get right for practice in that sense.
All right.
Yeah, the UNEMTech building was also mentioned, right, in the discussion, right. I want to bring unto our attention that the institution has been involved in this, has been taking part in discussions with the university, the Ministry of Works, Ministry of Lands, and quite recently, I think the last meeting that was held, it was agreed that the building should be evacuated, right, because of its risk of possible collapse or danger, to human beings. But we're involved in all of these things, right? So we're not silent, right? We may not go out in the street and shout, right? But we're doing our own little bit in every little way.
All right. So if somebody get land in engineer, then he wants construct house. What's not the normal procedure from on your angle?
I think I've been going through this when I've been starts. Obviously, the first stage you get for do design, you get for this. We're going to include the soil investigation, soil tests, feasibility studies, etc., right? And having done that, you will need forget your drawings. You will need an architect for probably produce architectural drawings. You will need a structural engineer for produce structural drawings, right? So with all of these, you go then take and go now to the Ministry of Lands for make you go able to obtain your building permit, right? And based on the adequacy of the drawings, adequacy of the designs, right, then go able for issue you a building permit. And haven't got your building permit, you go need now for appoint a contractor, right? So like I've been talk earlier, right, we want to ensure say in all of these steps, right, where it involves an engineering personnel, right, we want to ensure that it is only the personnel who have been registered, right, who the institution and the PERC Council deem fit, right, to practice engineering in Sierra Leone, right, go able for, come out and be contractor, or come out and be you designer, or come out and be you supervisor, right, and in all of these sites. And then having got your permit, you don't get your contractor, then you go start your work, and then, have it supervised again, as I say, by an adequate and professional, engineer.
Right. Engineer, on can charge Boku because people like that, some man give away see them go find they want to contractor there.
Well, there are standard charges, right? For all of these different activities, and I'm sure any engineer where they act within the realms of being professional, right, not supposed to overcharge anybody, right, but nonetheless, right, I mean, when it comes to your investment, right, you're going to put up a building, right, I mean, why should you desist from wanting to pay? Why you go look for the cheapest means, right? It's your investment. Could probably be a lifelong investment, right? So if I make sure, say, you pay, right, what is due, right, for the type of, building where you want for put up.
The program na Salon today where they come to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. You didn't also get the opportunity now for call on the number 077981981, calling you contribution inside the program as today we look at different issues, but to be specific, the rampant collapse of a building across the country. Free turn to Salon, Mr. Sine. What thing they happen at the province so far in terms of the same issue I would talk about in Africa?
So we get various communities where then at the provinces they suffer some form of flooding, and their own case, well, sometimes we can say a different small, then they play significant role in creating the problem they lead to flooding and then communities. Then if we look at Bond districts, in several communities in Bond districts, especially farming communities, been suffer from flooding. Flood water come, it lasts for days, some go for weeks. Now the farms, when once it take for a very long time that then farm, then it go spoil the plantation, it go spoil everything and don't harvest for long, and that is a big problem because it go affect everything they get for it. So it happen at Bond district this flooding season. Right. Then we get one also don't send team who they work with the Ministry of Agriculture, the same corporation. Now a river overflow around Moyamba district.
Mr. Sine, sorry, we can't look at Moyamba district, but I think we don't miss this call because somebody made a try for call. All right, continue, sir. Okay,
so this flooding take place. It affects several communities. Now farmlands there again. The rest then they now water for a long time. The assessment they take place. You go to Cambia again. Them towns there and villages by the river. The river can overflow. Then self be affected. Then they do assessment. Then we get sign at Kenima. When around Foindu, then self gets lots of flooding activities. We spoil property, them destroy farmland. So we get team where they do assessment. The young situation, we can say better past the free time small in terms of man's contribution to those disasters. So we they say how we can do assessment and try for help them.
All right, we see McKinney again.
Yes, McKinney McKinney you want feedback Freetown situation because you see you go to McKinney, look at who's the host and they now swamp. I've been there McKinney day before yesterday. Now swamp, fine host them, then build a swamp. And one journalist bring that to my attention, say because we don't develop this disaster risk financial strategy, what they share at the region. So we invite journalists and they tell me, say that community we don't there for many years. They know the flood. They say, but then construct hosts, big hosts na the waterway, we don't divert the water to people and host now. So that not the problem. You see, like how they say people and get important role for play for make we able reduce the risks there, and we need them for corporate.
All right. Over to you, Mr. Sundu. Now we look at the way forward, even though we wait for like calls and kind inside the program. What do you think is the best thing we government for do at this moment for reduce some of the issues there?
I think in the first place, we get forget inter-ministerial collaboration as we only mentioned. governments, because the disaster management, for me, then really they do them work well, because we don't they even the 10 I have closer to stadium now where disaster happen, houses them burn, we see them prompt actions where they take, how they will come with relief and the other condiments and for let people and sustain. But we cannot continue doing that, right? Let the sensitization go ahead. Then, I want to draw the attention on sensitization, even though they are here on a radio, right? But I want to recommend also public outreach. I believe in public outreach because why I say so? Not so everybody listen to radio, not so everybody they read newspaper, not so everybody they follow televisions. So that public outreach, let director take them. Let they reach people. If, for example, within the Bay community, put a loudspeaker, go to that area there, make sure say you there within there for 30 minutes, sensitizing the people, call them, make them see exactly within disaster mean. You go na then Bay, I call them Duff Court, who say exactly that they live, then magazine court area down there side and they wanna do outreach. It's very important because we still they talk but people still don't believe say they're not for bill na swamp, they're not for bill na water way, they're not for bill na the hilltop, they still go there. So what would they say? Even though they talk about inter-ministerial coordination, but let themselves do it to call public outreach. And also, government, if they see within even Guma, people then go encroach for bill where the stance way the government don't take as we they talk. Mickey will show you say in a lot of houses they don't go down, in a lot of buildings they don't go down, na that area they just because na the president na in talk. If not to be president talk, it means say like we say na money man them. People that we get money, now they go na the area they back, then say we can of course let we say then slum area like Bay, not to poor man place. If order for bill na possible we get money. Just like what the engineer they say, you get that structural planning.
All right.
It's very important.
Mr. Sundu, quick one. We get somebody on the line. Good afternoon. Your name and where you call from?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Usman. I call from UK.
Okay,
at first, give us thanks to all the engineers then within the country and the CSO and everyone who they put effort for let disaster not happen at the country. But what you mean is say most times they happen with them committee also the standard bureau, engineers, the food, the metrology committee, all in there. This is not on failure of follow process they working there in place. Especially some areas the way standard bureau get for involved. And also standard bureau actually belong they try for get certification from the ACOP, one of the West African program through EU. But I don't know the certification we give them now for that food and other things, them how far they don't go for develop the other funds they don't come in terms of the findings of like further foods, because then get still chemicals and machinery area I wanna challenge it. And that challenge there, it don't cause what they say mutual recognition. Because the standard bureau they know what's in that one, that standard mutual recognition, una agreement they make, una able to sell una food outside to other countries them without no delay. So but I don't know how far that one they don't go. Then being again the engineers and part of this committee, because a 5-member committee where standard bureau gets, I don't know brother na the studio the way they part of the engineering technical committee, when a part of that 5-member committee, how far the funds they will run kind waiting and go get, because we get waiting at that toxicology problem and the chemical toxicology. Now two different test them. The example now for that amlodipine medicine will be done recently. We didn't get problem. We are not even don't pull on the market. So the standards of renting and the how for able to find if they don't get stand firm. If the iron road can, if not cast iron for banner, not physical, but the chemistry will hold the cast iron, not carbon and sulfur, they know. So I wanna go check on because we banner not the physical textile. So that I don't know how far the engineering don't do. Then finally, the engineering group under the regulatory body, I don't know if they don't get an idea of what say then local traditional engineers there, then get the sense for build. But the technical idea, how we involve them, if not for upskill them, on for law will involve them rather than we left there isolated, then we get then undercover contract for good building here so. But I don't know how far them would think say, but I know they said it's struggle with funds. Because I know they are not funded, to be candid, but they are doing a good job. But all this in areas of cooperation, I don't know how they will do them so that we could avoid failure for follow process they would on in place. Thank you very much. Let God help Salome. That will get better too. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your contribution inside the program this afternoon. The program na Salon today where they come to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. You then can call or send in a message on the number 077-981-981. Before we can look at some of the question we this caller ask, and same way so some of the messages them you mean to talk about the Guma bill. You go wrap up on that side, sir.
Yes, as I say if not all the presidents, right, be do that proclamation they for set up civil society and other independent body for evaluate the situation and report. Now don't they see now also government don't they take action, because if people continue for bill within that Guma area they make water go short na freedom. Not only now don't decide they happen, right? So for me, just like we all other callers don't talk, and one of the key side way this will last brother don't talk, we be there behind the scene, we be discussing about the local engineers, how them for incorporate them into the system, because like we be the say behind the scene, just this caller I'm italic every day with the discussion. Make them able to incorporate them and let the engineer association make themselves relevant, because that's not the issue. How many people know the price go there, but if with the sensitization safe, right, going to radio as I talk about outreach, then safe cable for make the problem minimize rather than for escalator. That's not my recommendation.
All right, we did look at some messages. This one say, Mr. Mansari, most recently there was a serious flooding in Makeni after heavy rain. What was the role or support by disaster agency come out from MAC-10? And this other one says, citizens are paying service charges for meter, but EDSA are not a service with meter, which for me is another main cause of fire. This other one say, Mr. Engineer, you guys need to step up so that the public will know your role and responsibility, because you have a big task in the country. And this other one say, Mr. Festus, what advice will you give to government concerning the Unitec 7-story building? Because most recently, the minister, Mr. Senesi, has ordered evacuation over safety concern as the structure poses severe threats to occupants. It come out from MAC-10 again. And this other one say, Mr. Sine, do you have any toll-free line? It will start off with you, engineer. You get some concern with some citizens then send to you.
Right. Okay. I'll take the first one in relation to these local engineers, because we've been just talk about that during the break. Now, part of the revised PERC Act, as well as our revised M&A for the institution, we want to incorporate these local engineers. We want to create a grade of technicians or technologists, right? So that then self will be a full part of the institution as well, and then self will be entitled to some of the benefits, like instead of calling yourself a professional engineer, you might call yourself an incorporated engineer, etc., etc. So yourself will get you only the title. So we're looking into all of that, and it's not far from completion. So we very much bear that in mind. The other one about the Unitec building. Yes, we, as I've been the talk, we serve a part of this group, where they look at, all the studies, various investigations have been carried out, reports have been written and submitted, and it was based on that the minister been take the decision, for evacuate, the building. So further investigations will be carried out, which might lead to, other further actions, which I don't think it will be in my place to, say, at this particular point in time. Right, and there was another question about
Right, this other one they come out from Tom Dowd. I say, who is called an engineer in Sierra Leone?
Right. Right. An engineer, in terms of the Sierra Leone context, now person we don't go through a prescribed study in a particular field, whether civil, electrical, mechanical, mining, etc., etc. And for a number of years you don't qualify, and you don't begin practice. And in Sierra Leone, we they look at a minimum of at least 3 years where if you don't practice, and preferably under the supervision of a senior engineer, and then you get qualified for call yourself a full-fledged engineer.
All right, over to you, Mr. Mansari.
Yes. Make I left 1-2 updates where the collapse building. They make I just touch on them quick. Kongoton early again the rainy season. Don't even cut way for done one also kill person in Kongoton. It's different from this building story building way collapse. Yes, then Grey Bush again. We know say somebody be the Wakana Grey Bush where the fence for Don Panam a kill him. So now to McKinney. The McKinney situation. McKinney get flooding, but before the flooding, we been get earth tremor. It happened 210 at McKinney. NDMA put geoscientists then for make them go let them do findings. We really don't know what it cause them, but it happened 210. Just that it not cause any harm, it not kill animals, building they not collapse, but then get the strange sound and the tremor. Then the flooding take place at McKinney. The flooding take place. Myself been there McKinney. They do assessment and send them to we. NDMA they manage disasters and similar emergencies throughout Sierra Leone. Any way happen with the good day. The first step now for do assessment where they determine the impact, and the next one now for register the true people away affected by this disaster. Then we'll send the assessment reports to we now Freetown because we get team. Then from there we can take action as to how we will come and give quick support. But earlier this year, the university Unimax have been get big fire outbreak, affects good number of students, and in no time will be there McKinney for really cushioning the shock with them face. NDMA get toll-free line, we now 1199. Anybody can call that line. We get any event we get for do with disaster, you can call now 1199. Now the toll-free line is available.
All right, we continue for look at messages. This one from Francis Sorry Jaya. I say, President of Institute of Engineers, do we really have active engineers and architecture in the country? According to the state of our roads building, method of building, quality of material, equipment and regulation, nothing is showing. Which ministry is responsible for building regulation in Sierra Leone? It seems like they do not work and find solution together to fix this issue. This one say from Ambassador Solomon Lahai, he say, do we have career professionals or in Sierra Leone? Because all I know we have economic professionals. And this other one say, thanks very much, Director of Relief, for the update concerning issues happening around. Engineer. Yeah. Somebody say, President of the Institute of Engineers, do we really have active engineers and architecture in Sierra Leone?
Of course we do. We have active engineers. A lot of the projects, that are being undertaken, a lot of the project managers are, professional, engineers. And where I've been mentioned this Spark Act, it's in line with trying to stream, all of this for ensure, say, that we get, engineers and we don't register, and when are part of the institution of itself. But I would like to also mention that there are offenses and penalties, right? Particularly when fully registered, right? And the act specifically states and say anybody will not register as a professional engineer, will carry out any business as a professional engineer in Sierra Leone, or will cause or permit, right, anything for use the professional engineer title we entitled for use them, or will commit an offense liable for a conviction to a fine of not less than 20 million leones, or a term of imprisonment of not less than 3 years. So, as I said, this they come into effect full force starting the 1st of January 2025, right? So make everybody way out there, try for ensure that you're doing the right thing. Try for register and become a fully fledged engineer, and be warned, right, that when you violate anything against the act of itself, there is a fine that you will be liable to.
All right. As Tim done the catch me inside the program, we'll look at the last set of messages. This one say, Mr. CSO, you need to call things by their name. Standards Bureau and Trade, they cause this. They do not monitor the Lebanese and Indians where they car with building material in the country. Mr. Sundu.
Yes, I think say that can be the first recommendation we'll make about monitoring the process. And one area we put to engineer, one of the call be call say how best they do for made enroll be known to the public. I think so that engineer be the asked for when one of the texts are saying. So not forget that note. But let me say standard BO, mean a person where they call things by their name. I don't tell you say the Ministry of Trade where standard BO na the responsible for do the monitoring, and they you even talk about trade monitors. Now for themselves they work. We get for call things by their name, because if they not be they do, if they do the rightful thing, all then substandard goods thing what they talk about. We brought a call from UK. They give a lot of recommendations and even talk about the committee of 5 with the engineers then self day. I think so not for the go into the thing indeed. We they see now them scrap. Yeah, people they can buy them scrap. They go remelt them. Where they count them, they give them cast, right? Rather than the actual rod itself. So now monitoring, and if the engineers then they come out as I talk about outreach, telling people what to do, they make the enroll relevance to the public. Believe you me, standard build and self they would check them. They would make sure say Usai, standard brews, no one for send there. Then say go be watchdog for the nation. Because if we say no more with the left hand to one institution, just like we saying director saying then it means say some institution they not get for work and the relevancy not get for show to the nation. So we need them all for collaborate and make sure say they do the rightful thing for the citizens of Sierra Leone.
All right. This one say, all right, even though not to light with the discuss, but still I go read them. Authority that we concern the issue. This one say for the past 2 days we do not have light. Even when I have 98 units, we are still without light. Even now I am talking without light. They come out from concerned citizen in Malama. All right. Well, the authority that we concern do you then say for 2 days now Malama no get light. Mr. Sene, everything will be your word of message to Sierra Leone and now they see you.
Yes, I will tell people and say the frequency and the severity of disaster is in existence. The rate at which it happen fast, and how it harm people it don't manifest itself. We dey talk to people because we dey manage disaster together. For the people, I can always say, "Lord, we left for the bill who stay in a disaster prone community." You can able make the judgment. You can able determine say who's the bill so. Disaster can come at any time. It will kill you. When it kill you, will not go restore your life. It will destroy your property. We go try for you something, but it not go amount to what you don't get before. So now we all work together for make we able reduce disaster. Everybody get role for play in this. So ministries, departments, and agency, now we all work together. You get your role for play. Me say again, your role for play. We'll play and together. We'll able make sure say we reduce disasters them where they happen. So once everybody on board.
All right, plenty thank you. We join me inside the program this afternoon, Engineer Festus. What will be your message to Sierra Leonean?
Right. I think a lot has been said about the institution, coming out and making itself felt, making itself known, making itself a lot more visible, and that is something we definitely work on. Although I wouldn't say that we're not so visible at this point in time. We recently hold biennial conference which was a showcase, showcasing a lot of the activities where we undertake at this point in time. Also, as part of the sensitization, I mean, one thing we go on for look at, we also go help with visibility, is in undertaking a sensitization exercise, right, for make the public be aware. So when you use unprofessional people, for do you building or do you structure, right, it is prone to disaster. Right, so we need to come out and really go out and sensitize the people, on this and make sure it is well known. And we go also wish for work with the Standards Bureau, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, to ensure the materials that are being brought into the country are of the standard that is required.
All right. Well, we want to encourage the Sierra Leone engineers for letting come by your time na democracy. Prezo, when come by your time, so una go send out na information then.
I would think
we're
so.
not there.
Yeah.
Not there. Yeah.
Okay, I would think so. I mean, we could work out on a package.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Plenty. Thank you guys. Wanna join me inside the program this afternoon because for left or Sunday can very difficult, but nevertheless una still honor me invitation. Plenty thank you wanna join me inside the program this afternoon. Well, now good the continue of the program salon today. We come to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Plenty thank you to Joseph Songa, we give technical support, Fatimata Samora and Jaffa Mans Davis. Make on see we live on Facebook.